Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today for our No Sweat Tips for a Healthy Summer webinar. Just a quick note that the full webinar recording will be made available to all registrants after the webinar is over. To kick things off with quick introductions, I'm Lisa Lavery with Foodsmart, and I'll be one of your webinar hosts today. I manage content and head up culinary development for our company. I live in San Francisco with my husband, 2 preteen kids, and our snoring, stinky bulldog, Moose. I've got quite a crew. For those of you new to the Foodsmart community, we're a digital nutrition platform whose goal is to make eating well simple. We've got all kinds of exciting tools that help you live more healthfully, and we'll highlight them during your time with us today. Joining me is one of my favorite coworkers, Maddie Reeder.
Thanks, Lisa, and hi everyone. My name is Maddie, and I'm a registered dietitian and a clinical account consultant for Foodsmart. I live in North Carolina with my fiance and our goofy pup, Ghost, who is just as excited and ready for summer as we are.
So we're going to start off with our presentation and then get into answering the questions that you all submit. Feel free to share them via the Q&A icon or in the chat at the bottom of your screen. We'll answer as many as we can during that section at the end. And if you have any general questions or need support, please use the chat. Claire, another one of my favorite coworkers, is online and will be happy to help you.
So before we get started, let's do a brief overview of what we are going to discuss today in the hour that we have together. Making the most of summer produce by preparing delicious and healthy meals for everything from healthy snacks to backyard barbecue dishes. We'll also discuss taking advantage of the warmer months to incorporate fun and engaging fitness routines into your schedule, whether you're at the beach or you're at home.
And then we'll wrap it up by teaching you tips on how to organize and stock your kitchen for healthy eating all summer long. So here at Foodsmart, we're looking forward to the opportunity to get outdoors, connect with friends, neighbors, and family, and eat some amazing summer food. I know I'm excited to be able to move around a bit more and do some traveling. Maddie, how about you? What are you looking forward to this summer?
Oh, I know I'm excited to enjoy the sunshine and go on plenty of picnics on the beach with my pup and my fiance. Summer evening walks and dinner on the porch with fresh fruits and veggies I find. That's something I look forward to year after year, and I absolutely can't wait for that.
Same. I'm ready to get to the beach and see some friends and family. Yes. So the goal of our chat today is to arm you, the listeners, with tips and tools to help you get the most out of summer while staying on track with your health. And when we're talking about summer wellness, there are 3 areas that we like to focus on: your diet, getting your heart moving, and organizing your kitchen to create amazing and healthy recipes. So let's start off with my personal favorite, summer produce.
Yes, I love this topic. Buying in-season produce is not only more cost-effective, but it allows you to enjoy the freshest fruits and veggies possible. What is considered in-season does vary based on your location, but generally speaking, the produce that's available will be things like berries, think strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, you name it, cherries, melons like your cantaloupe, your honeydew, and things like tomatoes, stone fruits, and many more.
Yes, I'm so excited to let go of those winter squashes, kale, and sweet potatoes. I really can't wait to stroll our local farmers market for the best fruits and vegetables. It's such an easy, healthy way to eat in season. You're getting some exercise, some sunshine, walking around in the best of what your local growers have on hand.
Yes, and another important note that if you're not at a farmer's market, if you're shopping at your local supermarket, focus on the outer aisles of that supermarket to fill your shopping cart. And whether you're shopping virtually or physically or in person, think about it like that, just around the perimeter of the store. That's where all of the unprocessed staples for your diet are located, and that really builds the scaffolding of all of the recipes and the meals that you will be making for you and your family this summer.
I really love that visual of a scaffolding. It's like the backbone of your meal plan.
Yes, exactly.
And aside from fruits and veggies being at their peak, there's many more reasons to shift to a plant-forward diet, and this is the season to do it. It's better for the environment. So large feedlots that dot our landscape and the long distances that those big trucks have to travel to transport the meat, pork, and poultry across the nation are really big contributors to air and water pollution. It's also better for your health. So eating a diet rich in vegetables and fruits is full of vitamins and dietary fiber, which helps control your weight and provides support to your immune system.
That's absolutely right, Lisa. And a few additional nutritional benefits also include things like reducing inflammation in your body, decreased cholesterol and fat consumption, which can help your heart health, and for some, even improved gut health based on how your eating habits and patterns change when you switch from an animal-based protein diet to more of a plant-based diet.
Totally. Thanks so much for mentioning that, Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from making eating the rainbow a meal mantra, the other major tip that we have for easy summer eating is to spend some time prepping when you get home from the farmer's market or when your groceries show up at your front door, you come home from the store. That way, everything's at the ready for you when you're ready to eat it. So I like to wash and spin dry those tender herbs and greens that you get. I'll wrap the herb bunches in damp paper towels and store them and the spun greens in mesh bags in my crisper drawer. And make sure to use that delicate produce first. So that means maybe making salads earlier in the week and saving those heartier ears of corn and zucchini and green beans for later on in the week. Don't ever wash your berries until right before you're ready to eat them or freeze them. Moisture is the enemy of berries, and if you wash them and put them back in the fridge, that moisture will make them get moldy faster. But do wash and cut those delicious stone fruits, your peaches, your nectarines, apricots, when they're ripe, and place them in clear containers in the fridge for easy snacking. I find that if prepped fruits and veggies are right there at eye level and ready to eat, we will reach for those before a salty pantry snack. And then when I'm thinking about meal planning, I also like to take the time to marinate or dry rub the protein that I'm planning on throwing on the grill or sauteing in the oven. Giving it a few hours to infuse that great fresh flavor makes a huge difference. And if you're committed to eating less animal protein, why not do yourself a favor and make it taste the best it possibly can? It works for tofu too.
Lisa, I would be lost without your great tips, and I can't stress enough how important it is to wait to wash your berries. Just from, personal experience, it makes all the difference. These tips save a lot of time and frustration, and I always appreciate anything that makes meal prep and snacking a lot easier.
Definitely. So now that we're done talking about produce, Maddie, let's next talk about fitness. I don't know about you, but it took me some time to get into a groove with a different fitness routine after social distancing started. I found that I was really dependent on my local gym as an outlet. But fast forward to a few years later, I've got my own free weights, the resistance bands are in full effect in my backyard, I've got running buddies, you name it.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And now that the weather is warming up and summertime is upon us, it is the right time to build a fun and engaging plan for fitness.
Definitely. So after I had my kids, I joined a boot camp to help make myself accountable to get back in shape. And aside from feeling crushed every day, what I learned was that most any outdoor community space can be turned into a gym. We ran the stairs at our local stadium next to the high school, wrapped elastic bands around trees to do chest presses, and hopped up and down on small walls to do squats.
I love that. And, we often think of exercise as something that has to be regimented, formal, by the book. You have to have all the fancy gear, but really it can be whatever your body and your mind wants and needs. Whatever, wherever, as long as you're moving, that is such a great step and is actually so much more beneficial than we realize it is. For me, personally, I love workouts that I can add throughout my workday. I'm pretty good at keeping a schedule and getting my daily 30-minute to an hour workout in, but adding those 5-minute walks outside between my work calls or meetings, some quick stair workouts on my porch, anything that can get me outside in the sunshine and moving, I've found to be so beneficial for my health, especially during the summertime.
Definitely you're getting a double dose of fitness and fresh air.
Yes.
We also got a dog, so walking him became a part of our family's routine to get our steps in, get some fresh air, get out of the house, not drive each other crazy all day. And I swear he's the most active English bulldog ever. And even though summer is all about being outdoors, there's still an opportunity to work out indoors if you need. Maybe it's raining or it's super hot out and you really still want to get that workout in. Local gyms and fitness trainers have turned to the web to create fun, interactive classes and workouts that you can stream right from home on your computer. Maddie, have you tried any of these virtual workouts?
Oh, yes, and I absolutely love them because of the freedom and flexibility that they provide. The ability to be able to start and stop a video when I need to if my day gets crazy, and to come back to it at any point is really empowering and impactful, and I love a good virtual workout. The other thing is there's just so many that exist now. You can have ones that you pay for that are maybe part of a gym that you're already a member of, or you can go online and find free options that are available. Really helps to mix up your regular routine, and they travel well. You can take them with you when you go on vacations, when you're visiting your loved ones, and then there's no excuse to not get that workout in that you enjoy.
Definitely, definitely. And at our house, we bought one of those Trex systems and drilled it into the garage. And along with those elastic resistance bands, I bring those with me everywhere. We can do everything from arm curls to leg lifts. My kids even use them as like a jungle gym. They're so portable. And I found that lots of classes like to use them in their resistance training. So, you're using your own body weight. You don't even need to use weights. We also had the opportunity to rent a stationary bike that we ended up renting for so long that we now own, and I'm on that most mornings. I like to watch my guilty pleasure TV shows while I'm on it, so I feel like the exercise kind of cancels out that time that I was wasting watching Real Housewives.
Oh, Lisa, we are exactly the same. Everything stops when the Jersey Housewives are on.
Same.
It's my whole life, But yes, you're exactly right. Having those different tools in your home makes it really easy to get your workout in. And something you mentioned that I want to make sure we highlight here is that there are so many different ways to get workout equipment now that are cost effective. You don't have to buy the newest, fanciest, most expensive bike or treadmill on the market. Look at your local flea market or garage sales. Look on Facebook Marketplace. I know for myself, during the pandemic, I found a really great stationary bike with a desk on it, and I use it all the time, and it's made a huge difference without breaking the bank. So having those resources, if you can afford them and if you have space for them in your home, is absolutely a wonderful way to encourage you to get your workout in. But then, like I said, search for those options that are affordable so that you're saving money and you're improving your health too.
Definitely. And then those items aren't in the trash.
Yes.
They're being recycled for another family to use them.
Exactly.
I also linked up with a couple of my neighbors to start a running club, and I actually even signed up for it and ran a half marathon because of it. I never would have done that alone.
Incredible.
I'll probably never do it again.
Incredible. I love that.
So now that we've tackled summer produce and physical activity, let's get to the heart of the matter, a well-stocked, clutter-free kitchen.
Uh-oh. All right, Lisa, from a non-chef perspective, that sounds overwhelming, and I know I'm a registered dietitian, but just the amount of things in my kitchen makes it sound like an all-day project. So how do we break it down, Lisa? How do I take the stress out of this overwhelming process?
So I know it sounds daunting, but taking a little bit of time to optimize your cooking environment should make cooking easier, faster, and dare I say, even more enjoyable. So what are we talking about when we say optimize your cooking environment? It sounds very fancy. It's basically just decluttering. So first you want to declutter drawers and cabinets. Get rid of any unnecessary kitchen gadgets or tools you haven't used in over a year. Those unitaskers like the pineapple corer and cutter, that avocado doohickey that scrapes out the center seed. So set those aside. Multiples of anything. You have 3 can openers. You have that crusty oven mitt that you just don't want to get rid of. Set that thing aside too. Any extra coffee mugs, drinking glasses, or my nemesis, water bottles that are clanking around in that drawer that the top's missing or the straw's missing, so set those aside too. And then put them out of sight in a box or a bag in the garage. You can even toss them into your camping kit and leave them in there for a few months. And then you can donate or sell what you don't need to reclaim during those couple months. So after that, you want to reorganize those drawers and cabinets for efficiency and ease of use. So I like to group like items together. Pots and pans go in one drawer with their lids. Baking pans I put a little bit further out because I'm not baking every day, let's be honest. Cutting boards I keep right at the ready in a little nook there right on my counter. And other frequently used items that I like to keep within easy reach are skillets and saucepans. I have a little magnetic knife block with my favorite knives right there, cutting boards like I talked about. I keep a compost bucket right next to my cutting board so I can chop it and dump it right in there. And then I have one of those carafes with all my spatulas, wooden spoons, and tongs. I have a little wooden cutting board that has my salt, pepper, and olive oil, and I like to use citrus and red pepper flakes, so I have those grab-and-go items to do some healthy seasoning as I'm cooking.
Well, Lisa, I feel like you're calling me out with the crusty oven mitt, but I hear you. And all of this sounds so much easier than I thought. And I do a version of this in my own kitchen. And what I want to say is that this doesn't need to be done in one day. Maybe you focus on one drawer or one cabinet at a time. But the idea is to work your way through your entire kitchen, to pare down your tools, reduce clutter, and move things around so that your kitchen is more functional for you to work in. We know that clutter causes stress, and that can directly affect your body, your mood, and your associated behavior. A cluttered kitchen could be holding you back health-wise in more ways than we know. Creating a welcoming cooking environment can do a lot of things for us. First and foremost, it can lead to less stress eating. It can give you more energy and excitement to cook. It makes nutritious foods more visible and easier to access. It helps to turn your kitchen into a more functional and enjoyable space, not just when you're cooking, but when you're spending time there with your loved ones. And it gives you and your family fewer and better food decisions so that they can make the best choices day in and day out.
Yeah, I guess we don't think about it. We think of it as just a chore, but all of those things can really affect your emotional state too. And we want to make cooking as easy and seamless as possible. So last but not least, you want to make sure that you have the right tools, because the right tools can make a world of difference when you get into that clutter-free, organized kitchen, which brings us to our next section.
We all know that one of the best things you can do for your health is to start cooking. And having the right arsenal of tools will make meals easier and faster to put together. Chef Lisa and I have pulled together our top tools and gadgets to make prepping healthy meals as easy and convenient as possible.
And as an added bonus for joining us today, we will be sending you a printable download of our best of list to reference on your next shopping trip or to tack up in your kitchen. So first, let's start with some quality knives. I find that 3 knives can do almost any job in the kitchen. So my first and most important knife is a chef's knife. Look for something that's about 7 to 9 inches. And I always recommend that people go into the store and really hold them and see how they feel in your hand. Japanese knives tend to be lighter than the German knives. So, just go in there and try a few and see what works best for you. One serrated knife, I use these for cutting bread and into the skin of those tomatoes, great summer tomatoes. And then one small paring knife that I use for smaller jobs like coring strawberries, cutting little mushrooms, those smaller jobs. So then moving on, you need something to cut on, cutting boards. The one that I use most is just a wooden board. I like it to be about 18 inches. That way you have enough surface area to chop things and set them aside. And then I also have a few plastic boards that I like to throw in the dishwasher for smaller jobs. Garlic, I like to cut on those just because you can throw it in the dishwasher and get that smell and stickiness off. Or maybe I'm just making some sandwiches for the kids and I don't feel like hauling out that bigger wooden board. Next up is mixing bowls, and I love them to have lids. I have this set from OXO that has colanders that nest inside, and there's a small, medium, and large. I use those for different jobs. You can chop, put the stuff right in there, and then put the lid on and save it for later in your fridge. Probably my most used kitchen tool is brimmed baking sheets. I have a couple different sizes, really small, medium, and then large. They're not only essential for baking and roasting, they act as a prep organizer for meals. I use them to hold juices from thawing meats in the fridge, or I'll pat them dry and put a rub on and let my pork tenderloin sit in the fridge. And it also helps liquids in resealable bags to freeze flat. So I'll put leftover tomato sauce in a zip top bag, lay it in a rimmed baking sheet in the freezer, and then they stay nice and thin. Do not waste your money on those rimless cookie sheets where the cookies slide off. Get yourself a couple different sizes of rimmed baking sheets. Then you're going to need some dry and wet measuring cups and spoons. I also like to have a Y-shaped vegetable peeler, not only just for peeling the skin off of veggies, but I like to shave long strips of hard cheeses and shave raw vegetables for salads like zucchini, asparagus, and carrots. A box grater is great for grating fresh vegetables like carrots. and then a large fine mesh strainer. So if you only have one colander, get a fine mesh strainer. This one does double duty. It'll strain your pasta, but the holes are small enough to rinse rice and quinoa grains without them falling through. And then once you have the cooked grains, you pour them back into the mesh strainer. Your rice isn't going to go through those little holes. They also work well with a cheesecloth to strain homemade stocks if that's your thing, and make your own alternative milks if you're getting pretty fancy. In addition to a box grater, I like to have a microplane. I use these to capture citrus zest. If I really want to grate garlic into small pieces, I use it to grate frozen ginger. I love to keep knobs of ginger in the freezer. They'll last forever. And finally, grating hard cheeses over salads and pastas, that nice fresh shower of cheese. I keep two different kinds of thermometers. One, an instant read that I can test doneness of foods. So pulling that pork tenderloin from out of the stove or that steak that's on the grill, you can put an instant read thermometer to make sure that it's done to your liking. And then I also keep an oven thermometer tucked back in the back of my oven, just to get a real sense of how hot my oven really is. Oven temperatures can fluctuate, so if you're into baking or you want to make sure that you're baking something at the right temperature, an oven thermometer is great for that. A digital scale is not only essential for baking, if you want to do a volume size baking, it's a great way to portion out proteins evenly. So say you see a great piece of fish, bring it home, you can portion it out into those 4-ounce portions. I find that one medium-sized whisk is the do-it-all size for making everything from whipped cream, whisking a pan sauce, to creamy puddings, cake batters, and citrus curds. I have a couple different kinds of metal tongs. I make sure that they're long enough to keep your hands clear of a heat source. Some of them have the plastic on the ends for non-stick surfaces, extra long ones for the grill so your hand is not over that fire. So a couple of them do the trick. Wooden spoons are a big workhorse for me. They don't melt or scratch nonstick surfaces, and you can really scrape into the corners of pots and skillets. Spatulas are great. Fish spatula, flat-sided spatula for flipping pancakes and burgers, and then a couple different rubber spatulas. Skillets, if you only have two, get a 10-inch nonstick for egg cookery and things that you're worried about sticking. And if you only get one other skillet, I would go cast iron. You can turn it into a nonstick surface. It retains heat really well. 12 inches does the job. A couple different saucepans with lids, small, medium, and then a large pasta pot. And if you're going to invest in a Dutch oven, 6 to 8 quarts is usually the size that I recommend. Round versions work better if you're going to be doing cooking primarily on the stovetop. They sit around the burner really nicely. And those oval shapes are great for braising whole cuts of protein. So say you want to do a whole chicken or chicken in pieces, pork loins, or larger roasts. And finally, assorted baking dishes. So get that 9x13 casserole dish so you can do all those delicious bubbling casseroles and gratins. I'm from the Midwest, so I love those. I like an 8x8 inch straight-sided metal baking pan. I find that those retain heat better than the glass ones. Those are great for making your bar cookies and not just straight-sided or smaller baked items. And then a 9x5 inch loaf pan, great for turkey meatloaf, regular meatloaf, or if you're doing like a morning quick bread, great for that.
This is a perfect list, Lisa. All of these things are practical, they're easy to clean and store, and they're also affordable, which is why I love these suggestions. There are lots of jazzy things on the market, and more things are coming out every week. I feel like I'm always seeing some ad on Amazon or my social media of this great new thing I need to try to cut strawberries. But really, when you find basics like this that you've spoken about, Lisa, that you love, and when you learn to use them well, you can't go wrong, and you can bypass all of the other gadgets that are out there. So in addition to these, Chef Lisa and I have a couple of other tools and shortcuts that we lean on heavily in the kitchen.
Yep. So if you're going to venture outside of the basics, these are 3 other tools that I really reach for all of the time. So the first is a bench scraper. Now these are traditionally used when you're baking to scrape up any extra pieces of dough that are left on the bench or the actual workspace that you're working on. But I use this tool all the time. In addition to making and cutting pizza doughs, I scrape up chopped herbs and diced veggies from my cutting board. It's the perfect device to transfer things from your board to a pan on the stove, and it really helps with the cleanup process too. Second is a garlic press. It's so much easier than chopping. I mentioned that cutting garlic on your cutting board can make things sticky, and then you cut a melon and it tastes like garlic. So I love that it keeps my cutting board from getting that garlic smell and taste. And baking sheets, you probably could have guessed, and I'll say it again. I use these for everything from a breading station for chicken cutlets to holding raw meats and poultry in the fridge, letting cooked meats rest, and I put it next to my wok to transfer things in and out when I'm making a stir fry.
Those are great, Lisa. I have a couple as well that I love, in addition to the great suggestions you mentioned before. My first additional tool that I have to have in my kitchen is a good knife sharpener. We know that knife safety is so important, and a big part of that is making sure that your knives are sharp enough so that you don't have any cutting mishaps when you're cutting up those great summer fruits and veggies. So you can find a knife sharpener very, very cheap in a lot of different places. You don't need a fancy one, and you don't have to go through a whole crazy process to do it, but making sure that you have one in your home is really important. The second thing, and I know Lisa mentioned a great cutting board, but making sure that either you have a non-stick item to put under it, or making sure that it has like a silicone edge to it, something that'll keep it from sliding all around.
Oh, I love that.
Is really important, because we talk about knife safety. If your cutting board is running away from you while you're trying to cut up your fruits and veggies, we're probably going to have some mishaps. So that's a really important one. You can either get a cutting board that has like some silicone edge on it, as I mentioned, or sometimes you can get like a silicone pot holder and put it underneath a cutting board you already have. So something like that, just to make sure that your cutting board stays put, is really important. And finally, again, I mentioned I try to avoid my gadgets, but this one is something that I bought on a whim, and I use it all the time, and you will too if you like citrus, especially in the summertime, is a handheld citrus press. If you use lemons and limes a lot, it's a great way to make sure you get every last little bit of juice out of those lemons and limes. It helps to keep the seeds from falling into whatever you're making, and it's something that I use almost every single day, and I really, really love it. And they're inexpensive too, which is great.
Yep, and don't take up a lot of space.
Not at all.
Another thing. So I know we covered a lot today, but Maddie and I wanted to wrap up with just a quick summary of the few high-level takeaways. So first, summer produce. Try and pack your diet with whole, unprocessed foods, and really just take advantage of all of the produce that summer has to offer. It's the best time of year to get delicious fruits and vegetables. And make sure to set aside a little bit of time to prep them when you get home, so they're right at the hand and ready for meals and snacking.
Yeah, and when it comes to fitness in the summer, especially your outdoor fitness, try to incorporate 30 minutes of brisk movement into your schedule every day. Use the park as a gym, use some virtual workouts, whatever works best for you. Maybe it's linking up with a neighbor for a walk or running buddy, or in our cases, our dogs are our running buddies, so that works out great too. Or sign up for a fun fitness competition. Whatever you need to do just to make sure that you're moving in the nice weather outside is really important.
Definitely. And lastly, we gave you tips and tricks to help declutter and organize your kitchen to make cooking enjoyable for you and your family, complete with a checklist of everything you need for successful recipes.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. So now I'm feeling ready for a vacation after all of this talk of summertime and all the delicious foods and activities. But as we wrap up, we want to take a few minutes to highlight how Foodsmart can support you now and simplify your healthy eating efforts this summer season.
Definitely. So, Maddie, it makes sense for us to chat first about our amazing team of registered dietitians, of which you are a part of.
Oh, well, thank you, Lisa. So our registered dietitians are experts in all things nutrition related. We work with you and create a plan that is customized to your lifestyle and goals. So whether you're trying to manage your weight, maybe you're trying to treat a chronic condition, discuss and work through an emotional relationship with food, or maybe just find some healthy summertime dinner options in a sea of misinformation that's out there in the world, our registered dietitians can support you. Registered dietitian appointments may be included in your health plans, offering free of charge. And you can click on the link in the chat box to get scheduled with a registered dietitian at Foodsmart today.
Yeah, and booking one of those appointments can have such a positive impact on you and your family's health goals. I've heard, you feel better even when you just book it, like looking forward to that, knowing that you're ready to make that change. And really, let's face it, everybody could use another member on their team to help keep them on track. So next, let's talk about a few of the other useful tools that are available to you on the Foodsmart platform. So next up, we have meal planning. Foodsmart's meal planning tool makes it super simple to incorporate all the tips we talked about today. There's healthy recipes for everyone in your family. We have a huge database of recipes that span every cuisine and flavor preference. There's even curated lists for recipes that can be made in 30 minutes or less, recipes with corn or your favorite summer vegetable, budget-friendly options also, because we're all looking to stretch our grocery budget, especially during these times. There's an in-app master meal list, so once you start choosing recipes and making meals with Foodsmart, just heart the recipes your family gives the thumbs up to create your own personal cookbook in the app. And you can use those recipes to generate a weekly plant-based meal plan or summer meal plan in a matter of minutes to reference for meals throughout the week.
We also integrate with Walmart, Amazon Fresh, and Instacart for quick and contactless grocery shopping if you're trying to avoid or limit trips to the store during this very busy and exciting time of year. When you create a meal plan in the app, Foodsmart will generate a shopping list of all the foods that you'll need that can then be added to your shopping cart with just a few taps of your finger. And that means that your days of writing a grocery list and losing it or leaving it at home, like I do, are long gone. So you can prepare and compare prices across these different platforms to find the best deals for you and your family at stores near to you.
You know, one of my favorite hacks is if we're going away, like say we're going away for a weekend or you're gone for the summer, I'll create my meal list and get that grocery shopping going so that we have food at home when we get there.
Yes.
You know, if you have kids, you don't have any milk or anything and cereal in the house, it's like you have to do that extra trip. So you can do that. You can even invite other household members to the family meal plan with you so they can look at the meal plan and share their favorites and even help in the joy of creating those online grocery lists and tackle food shopping as a team. So we also have great ongoing education. We strive to keep our members engaged and always forming new healthy eating habits through our newsletters, blog posts, and webinars just like these to create a strong network of tools to drive healthier eating decisions created by our in-house medical and nutrition team, just like us. All right, I think we have time for a few questions. Maddie, are you ready?
Oh yeah, great. Let's do it.
All right, what do we have here in the chat?
Yay.